feel confident is the stamina question.
Yeah.
So I think doing it, and especially doing it in the summer, it's got like a July 4th kind of timing vibe. It made logical sense. The problem is they didn't deliver. I mean, I think had he delivered and actually delivered a vigorous, even just a decent sort of performance, I think this would have been a very smart idea. But I think some of the decisions around it, I think putting him on the right, I still will maintain, I know it seems like a small thing, I think was the wrong decision. If you had the first coin flip, you should have put him on the left so he would look like he was looking at Trump instead of looking out, into the distance.
Or told him to just look the other direction. I mean, they knew where the cameras were.
And they knew where the cameras were supposed to be. And again, Donald Trump is a television performer. He is not a president. He didn't age when he was president because he wasn't president. He was on the golf course the whole time, right? So, but he knows TV. He knows where the red light is. He knows where the camera is. He knows how to perform. So going against him, you needed to, better optics for your.
Well, let's bring in some very important new voices to this conversation. People who are the people we've been talking about in the abstract all night, voters. Joining us now from Phoenix, where he watched the debate with 4 voters, is NBC News correspondent Gadi Schwartz. Gadi.
Fascinating stuff at the top of your hour because this is my panel right here. We are in the backyard in Maricopa County here in Arizona. And after we were done watching the debate, you're over here, the TVs are over here. They don't have IFBs in. And so as you all were talking about the possibility of somebody else other than Biden running on the Democratic ticket or possibly an open convention, they were talking about the same thing, and they are completely removed from these spin rooms and everything that's happening over there in Atlanta right now. It's just really interesting to hear you all talk about that, to hear you all talk about it all at the same time. So first off, I want to get your perspective and whether or not it changed. But when we set this up, we were talking about double haters, the people that don't like either candidate. How would you describe both candidates after tonight? Starting with you.
Oh, so Trump, he didn't really answer questions. He just kept rebuttaling what Biden said or bringing up something that has nothing to do with the question. Biden, he was trying to answer the questions, but he also was trying to rebuttal Trump as well when he was, coming at him about things that has nothing to do with the question, like, golfing or things like that.
Yeah, I saw Joey. I saw you get pretty heated when they started talking about golf.
Yeah, because why are you talking about golfing? This is a political debate about presidency and how are you going to be in the office? How is it going to be? And are you talking about golfing right now? And who has the better swing? Yeah, that's when I wanted to tune out. When I saw that, I was just like, wow.
And Jeff, you're not a Democrat, and yet you're talking about who else can the Democrats run right now. Right. Tell me a little bit about your thinking there.
So I think what we just witnessed was, the feeling I had inside was Trump, hell no. He lied through the whole thing. And Biden is like, oh no, he is really in a bad shape. And can he even run in the rest of the election or take the White House again? I just don't see how that would work. So yeah, maybe an open convention is
open convention. The Democrats and you're a McCain Republican here in Arizona. Could you vote for somebody else that runs on the Democratic ticket?
If they're not liars and cheats, yeah, it's a tough choice, and I think you said it best. But yeah, Trump is an absolute no. He's a liar and a thief and a rapist and all those other things. It's just not acceptable. That's the way I was brought up. You don't lie and you take accountability for yourself. At least Biden's that way. He seems like an honorable and honest guy, but I don't think he's got the stamina.
And Denise, you just made an observation when Biden popped up. Can you share with us your observation there?
Well, it was interesting because before this started, we had talked about who's going to show up today. Which Biden is going to show up, which Trump is going to show up. Is it going to be a circus? Is it going to be, that kind of a show? And I feel like when Trump was speaking, he's got that orange skin and he had that silly smile and he moves his hands like this, and I want to put a set of tambourines in between, like the wind-up monkey, because he pats himself on the back so much. And here's Biden, unfortunately, poor thing, who he would talk, and it was like the puppet master was like, oh, here I am, and I'm going to go do this, and then I'm over. And he would his head was down, his eyes were glazed. It was like he was on and he was off. And I think both parties should really think about an open convention.
Nicole, how do you categorize this choice?
I mean, it's like Sophie's choice, but reverse. I don't want to make either choice because I was not surprised by their performance at all. Trump acted like Trump, Biden acted like Biden, and that's why I'm frustrated with where we are today.
Now, you're all talking about open conventions. I don't think any of you are Democrats, card-carrying Democrats. There are third-party candidates. How do you all feel about RFK Jr.? Anybody?
I don't think he's got the mental acuity needed for that either.
Joey?
No comment. I have no comment on him because I haven't really looked over his plan or what he plans to do or heard too much about him. I saw the petition around trying to get him on the ballot, but that's about it.
And Denise?
I don't think he's fit for this job of president. I think he did a fine job on the state level. I think he's good at doing other things, but he's just not good enough for president.
How about you, Nicole?
I mean, I look at who we have right now, and there's just lacking in leadership. Both of them poor leadership. So for me to consider somebody else, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at leadership characteristics.
Now there is something that we've been talking about, and I've been kind of reluctant on bringing it up because I don't want you to get all kinds of hate from people. But it's the idea of I don't like any of these candidates, so I may not vote, but I'm scared of people saying, no, you have to vote. And that seems to be a real concern. Are you guys comfortable chatting about that? I mean, starting with you, Nicole, is there a possibility that you just don't vote?
Right now, absolutely. I mean, I was back in 2016. It was all that chatter of, it's your American right, your due diligence, and if you don't vote, then you're voting for the other person, and all of this that really had my husband and I prayerfully considering who do we vote for? And with the two choices we have now, we don't vote for them, and I can feel more confident not voting for either of them than I can trying to do. I did the lesser of two evils last time, and January 6th happened. I cannot and will not do it again.
Actually, when we were watching the debate, every time January 6th came up, I saw you all lean forward. When they started talking about January 6th tonight, what went through your minds, starting with you?
Stop saying that it's Nancy Pelosi's fault. Start taking, former President Trump needs to take accountability for his part in this as well. I just can't even, I don't even want to go there because it's just riles me so much that our country and our public buildings were just so defiled in that, because he keeps saying that the election was stolen from him. It wasn't stolen. He was ousted from office. His 4-year job as contractor for the American people, he was fired and he needed to go. And he did not go quietly.
There was another moment where I was watching you very intently as you were all watching the debate, and I saw a lot of you lean forward when the question was about childcare, right? You in particular.
Yeah.
And you kept leaning forward, and you just kept sitting back when you heard the questions. What was going through your
the
mind?
main thing that was bothering me the most was when Biden was speaking about it, he was just saying, oh, it's only affecting blacks and Hispanics, but it's affecting everybody because childcare is just expensive in general. And then when it's time for Trump to answer the question, he didn't even answer. He didn't answer the question at all. He just started talking about something else that had nothing to do with the question. And even the moderator had to bring him back hey, this is the question. So it's just I don't like how they're not giving us any solutions. I thought the debate was for solutions. This is what I'm going to do when I get into office. It wasn't too much of that.
Jeff, did you see or hear any solutions?
Well, I don't know that Trump has any policies in mind, and I know Biden does, but I don't think how's he going to execute those policies if he returns to office? It's just
He needs the Congress.
open convention.
I wish I could have been there.
Open convention. And again, this is coming from non-Democrats talking about open convention. One of the other things that I thought was really important, a lot of times when people are watching politics, I think everybody in the world is watching politics. 3 of you said something I thought was fascinating. The truth is, how many here would have made it past 3 questions in this debate before turning the TV off? 1. Just Jeff. You 3 said that no. And at what point, if you weren't watching and hanging out with us and we weren't, supplying you with all that guacamole, at what point would you have turned it off? What part just turned you off completely?
The whole finger pointing, well, you did this and you did that, and I came to try to watch two relatively sane people talk about what they're going to do for the country. And we got two second graders having a slugfest on the playground.
And with that, I will ask you, Denise, who did you vote for the last election?
I will say in the last election, I voted for everyone who ran for an office except for president, because I did not choose either candidate. I wrote myself in.
You wrote Denise in.
I wrote Denise.
Denise and the writing candidate.
Denise for president.
All right. With that, Rachel, I'll send it back to you.
Well, that would make for a very interesting brokered convention at your breakfast bar there in Maricopa County. Denise, the only declared candidate.
There you go.
That would really give, I mean, she's the only one who's run a campaign. That would give her a leg up. Thanks, you guys. That was fascinating.
They're saying you got a leg up.
With voters in Phoenix tonight. Yeah, she's the
I
one who's already
wish I
started her
was there.
campaign.
I wish I was there.
I'm really